Good morning. It's April 11th, 2022. This is To My Liberal Friends, and I'm John Haddo. I want to look at some of the issues facing this nation right now and their impact it has on the elections. And so I'm going to do this in two parts. Today I'm going to focus on some of the problems that we're facing and what that may mean come the midterms. And as we move toward the middle of April, these midterm elections are coming up faster and faster. And if you read the polls, then it appears that Republicans seem to be gaining ground and Democrats are falling behind. The Rasmussen report on Friday had a new poll out that showed President Biden with a 41% approval rating and a 57% disapproval. That means only 2% were undecided, and those numbers are difficult to change in 6 months. It's unusual to have only 2% undecided at this point. Normally that number is going to be 8 to 12%. And that poll has been consistent with others. More importantly, last week, two polls came out with similar numbers showing that on average, 65% of the American public think the nation's on the wrong track. And that spells bad news for Joe Biden and his Democratic allies in Congress. Traditionally, Democrats have led Republicans in generic voting polls, and one reason is more people are registered as Democrats. But recent polling has shown that either the Democratic lead has evaporated or Republicans are actually leading in several of these generic voting polls. That's almost unheard of in the past two decades. But I would offer a bit of caution to Republicans running for office. Simply pointing out how bad the Democrats are handling things is not a prescription for winning. You have to have a plan in place, something the voters can vote for as opposed to against. Simply winning the House and Senate will be a short-term victory if Republicans cannot make changes in the direction of the country. They will find that the public will quickly turn on them as well. You need to be able to vote for something, and I cannot stress that enough. In the last two elections for president, I think more people voted against Hillary Clinton as opposed to supporting Trump, and in 2020, Trump lost more than Joe Biden won. And so Republicans need a plan to present to the American people. It should be a plan that will appeal not just to the far right of the party. The Democrats have tried to appeal to the far left of their party, and we'll see how that's working out. But you need a plan to appeal to the American people, and that includes moderate Republicans, independents, and in fact many Democrats. That plan should address the concerns that are uppermost in the minds of most Americans and not focus on some ideology that eventually turns voters away. In my opinion, Joe Biden made some of these major mistakes. He campaigned as someone who was going to try to unite the nation. During the campaign, he characterized Trump as a divider, and that he, Joe Biden, would govern as a moderate. He has done the exact opposite. He allowed the progressive wing of his party to dominate his administration and to grab the megaphone in the public debate. He has nominated people in key positions within his administration based on some gender and race calculation as opposed to getting the best people possible. Now let me be clear, many of those people might have been the best, but the appearance is that diversity is overcoming good qualification. Now that may well play with the woke left in the country, but not in the suburbs and the kitchens of millions of Americans. They want solutions and they want action now, not some ideology hard left. So I think if you were to talk to the average American, they would list the issues that we face as a nation, and they'd be fairly consistent. First is inflation. We're running at nearly 8% a year, and that's just unacceptable. We can't keep on this pace, and there's got to be a way to reverse it. The second would be gas prices, and that's directly related to inflation. But let's be honest, Biden came in attacking energy companies, and gas prices started rising. And people need to buy gas. Tell them to buy a Tesla electric car is simply not an answer. Crime is a problem. We keep seeing reports of carjackings, murders, organized shoplifting, and people don't feel safe. And if they don't feel safe, they're going to look to make changes. Immigration's a problem. The situation on our southern border is simply out of control, and this administration does not have any plan to resolve it. Education is becoming more and more of an issue. Certainly Glenn Youngkin rode this one to victory in Virginia. Ron DeSantis is making a major issue in Florida, and he's winning. It almost allowed the Republicans to win the governor's race in New Jersey. Parents want to be involved in their children's education. And if you think they don't, you're going to lose. Tomorrow, I will talk about what I think some of the plans the Republicans ought to offer, because they have to have a positive plan. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.